Erin, thank you so much for being here at the Lowcountry Influentials. My little project here is highlighting people like you, people of influence in our community. You've been an influence for a long time at this point, and I always wanted to talk about what you do because, in my opinion, you might be living in a parallel dimension where time doesn't quite affect you the way it affects normal humans. So let me just recap, and you let me know if there is anything that I'm missing here, because you are the host of Lowcountry Live on local ABC TV.
Yep.
How long you've been doing that at this point?
I have been in television for 20 years. I've hosted Lowcountry Live for, I think this is going into my 8th year, 8 years.
Awesome. And you are a licensed auctioneer doing a lot of good for our nonprofits in our community. And because that was not enough, you also you also have your own course, your own way of teaching to people how to use video to promote their business, and you do this on Instagram. And I looked at your feed. I don't know how many hundreds of videos are out there.
I crank out a lot of content. Yes,
you do. You definitely, prove what you're teaching. So, and you are a mother of how many kids?
We're a blended family. So together we have 4. I have 2 daughters and my husband has 2 daughters. So
they're
4 girls. Yes, we're busy.
Yeah, it seems that time doesn't quite work with you normally. I mean, this must be, and
you see these dark circles. They've got good lighting, Paolo, but
you're talking about that.
Time does exist.
And if that wasn't enough, then you also take time to appear on these little initiatives like mine. So thank you so much. You're a busy person. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about how do you manage? I mean, you must be extremely well organized. I know that people would love to know more about how somebody like you can actually fit all those activities together.
Right. That's a good question. And I think I'm glad that, I didn't know we were going to record this interview. I'm glad that I'm in workout clothes, because I think it is a good representation that, what I present in the world on television, on my Instagram page, sometimes is a little more polished and professional, but like, this is me. This is me 95% of the time, running the kids around, running my businesses behind the scenes. So, I love when people ask the question, how do you do it all? Because I think women, we hear that a lot. So we get asked that question a lot. And I wish there was like some magical, wands that we could just like, tap things and make everything smooth and easy, or magic recipe or formula. And there isn't. I think everyone is just different. I never intended to be doing 3 different things. I'll start with that. I've been in television for a long, long time. My pivot, so for the video, my pivot came during COVID. And this right here, this is my bedroom, right? So the COVID happens. We were forced, like everyone else, to stay at home. We were broadcasting from our home. This is, with 4 kids, this is the only room in the house that had like some empty space, and I could lock the door to keep them out. So
locking the door is the key element.
I mean, at one point, my one daughter was like worming across the floor as we were on air to go get laundry because our washer is like in our bathroom. So anyway, I digress. But this is where it started. So I was broadcasting to the Lowcountry from my bedroom, and I started getting tons of questions from people, because the whole world was thrust on Zoom, and people were saying, I am so awkward. I hate the way I look. I hate the way I sound. You have a big microphone. Do I need that? Do I need a ring light? All kinds of questions. So because I was bored, right? We had nothing to do during COVID. I decided that instead of writing responses to all these emails and Instagram inquiries that had come along, that I was just going to make a video, and I was going to make a video to show people how to set up Zoom.
Great idea.
I did it. I never made videos. I was on video on TV, but I wasn't like a content creator at all. My, Instagram feed was like my kids and cute outfits. So
It's different when you have to produce it yourself, isn't it? I mean, when you have
right.
to,
It's
it just
TV is like
becomes this
easy.
mountain.
Right. I waltz in, I read it off the prompter, I waltz home, like that's easy. But to produce it myself was like a totally different game. So I
Right.
made my first video and I was shocked at the response that I got. So
Nice.
instead of posting content that was what I call look at me content, like look at my cute outfit, look at my family, I was posting content that was helping someone. And I got a bunch of responses. So I was like, hey, that's cool. I'm going to do another one. So I did another one, 3 ways to be more confident on camera. Same thing, got a bunch of responses. So I call myself an accidental entrepreneur because I had no intention of starting a company. But by creating videos that were useful and helpful and entertaining, I suddenly had my first person come to me that said, hey, Erin, how much is it to work with you? And I was like, I don't know. Let me figure that out. So since then, I formed my LLC. I have literally taught, we were just doing the math today, I've taught over 1,000 people between courses and live training sessions. But it's so rewarding to me because I think, Paula, you and I talked about this, how I know I'm in workout clothes today, but generally we like to present ourselves to the world polished and professional, right? Like we have.
Last time we met, you actually asked me, do you actually own a pair of sweatpants?
Yes, he's always like so handsome in a suit. So I think when it comes to video, people think I have to be in a suit jacket. For women, I have to have hair and makeup and I need to be perfect. And what I've learned and what I help people with is that is not true at all. In fact, like casual, authentic content is what's doing really well right now. And it's so rewarding to see people, my age who didn't grow up with a phone in their hand to get over their discomfort zone and start producing videos that showcase their expertise. And when you do that, your business starts to grow, you start to create connections, and it unlocks like all kinds of doors. And it's just, it's a really rewarding and amazing process to tell people like, you can do this and you don't need to be perfect or have your makeup done. And just by talking to the camera in a strategic way, it can be pretty magical.
There is this concept that, we have in business. I've been in business for 22 years with different companies. And so I'm trying to learn as much as possible. So reading through the books, I hear the same voice from multiple authors. Don't let perfection get in the way of the good. And that is the whole point. You are demonstrating with your practice. Actually, you're putting in practice. I saw your videos on Instagram. And you're not letting the imperfect opportunity getting in the way of providing good content. So, it is important to look as professional as possible, I believe, but that can be phase 2, can be, today you deliver the content and I mean, every business opportunity. I remember, the first Apple One, the jobs that Wozniak created was a printed board in a wooden box. It's a far cry from the high polish of of Apple today, but it was good enough, especially for 1979.
Right. And you know what? You're not going to get better. I mean, like your photography, you study, you get mentorship, you're always reading. With video, with photography, whatever it is in life, you're not going to get better until you just do it. You just
have to practice.
Do it over and over again. And I'm so passionate about it right now because I think, times are tough, right? Inflation, uncertain economy, social media can be an amazing second income for you. Like I see people, women I work with, quitting their full-time jobs and offering their services virtually now, using social media as a platform and connecting people through video. So the video is just step 1 to what it can do for you and for your life. I've totally changed the life for my family by making videos in my bedroom. Sounds weird. Kind of sounds dirty. No. It's not. I swear it's not. But it's been, it truly, I know it sounds dramatic, but it's totally changed things for us because of, what I do.
Now, obviously, you gained this position of leadership, and I mean it in a good way. As a leader, you are somebody who is showing how something is done and helping people to understand that. Okay, that didn't happen overnight because, as you were mentioning, you've been in TV for 20 years or 20 something years.
Yep, 20 years, over 20 years now.
Over 20 years. So that is that's a chunk of change right there. And tell us a little more how you started and how it happened that you are now on being the host of Lowcountry Live.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, think what TV was like 20 years ago. We still had normal, we had cable, but we had over-the-air channels, ABC, NBC, CBS.
Yes.
It was just totally different. Now we have Netflix, Hulu, Roku, Apple TV, like it's
all the
insane.
streaming. Yeah.
So many things to get your content. So I feel like I have seen major changes, but there's always a need for local news, and it's always a service that we provide. So I just think my ride, if you will, has been fascinating. So when I actually started in Charleston 20 some years ago.
Are you a native of Charleston?
I'm from Ohio, like half of the Lowcountry. So I don't like admitting it because people get mad. They're like, go home, Ohio. I'm like, I've been here a long time.
I'm from California. The other frequent source.
A lot of Californians, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
But I had a degree in journalism. So when I graduated, my offers were Yakima, Washington. Have you been to Yakima, Washington? No.
No, I heard of it, but I didn't do it.
They did not even have money to fly me there. They were like, just use the phone book and call some local businesses and ask them if they like Yakima. And then the other one was Clarksburg, West Virginia, and then Charleston. So Charleston was like hitting the jackpot. So I came down here, I reported because I had a journalism degree, but they wanted me to do weekend weather. And I could admit it now, but back then I had no clue what I was doing. None. Like I don't even know what a tropical depression was. Like I knew nothing. But as we've discussed, like I studied, I read books, I went to meteorology school. It was a 3-year degree and got my meteorology certificate.
You did.
I did figure it out. But in the early days, like no clue. You never should have listened to me, anyone.
Well, there are so many people actually that say, say yes first and figure it out later. And that's what you did.
I feel like I live my life like that. Like I'll just say yes, and then I'll backtrack and figure out how to do this. But yeah, so I did weather for a long time. I moved to Pittsburgh for like 6 or 7 years because that was closer to home for me, and did weather there. And then once I had kids, I was just fed up with snow and all the yuck. So I moved back to Charleston, and then eventually started hosting Lowcountry Live now, which is a lifestyle show. So it's not news. It's we showcase like events, businesses such as yours, new restaurants in town, boutiques, like fun stuff.
Yeah, I remember actually I met you the first time when I was helping one of my clients, Kurt Mercadante, who was Yes. And
Kurt? He was traveling the world last I heard.
Kurt has gone around. Every now and then he texts me, and is a powerful figure. And he was on your program. He asked me to do a series of portraits or photos of him on the program. It was all part of his branding effort, which I guess worked out very well. So
yeah, great.
So we talked about the video, we talked about TV.
Now my favorite.
now there's the last part, and is how did you think of becoming an auctioneer, and how
it's weird, isn't it? It's weird to have like a female auctioneer. It seems it's a little, I get weird looks sometimes, like what?
It is a male dominated industry, isn't it?
For sure. Yeah.
And it is a high energy situation to be. I'd love, I had never had a chance to see you auctioneering, so I'd love to see your style.
We'll get you to one of my events for sure.
Awesome. And but on top of everything, we know that like like with every profession, there
Mhm.
are people who get in there, they work their way, but you're a certified auctioneer, which is
Yep,
a
licensed,
completely
legit.
different story. So
Yep.
share with us a little bit what goes into it. How did you think of it? What was the attraction and
I
how
listen,
it
I
snowballed?
never in a million, cajillion, billion, trillion years, whatever, thought I would be an auctioneer.
Uh-huh.
It's like, I mean, I don't think I'd ever even been to an auction. Maybe I'd seen one on TV when they were selling cows.
Right.
Like I knew nothing.
Uh-huh.
So my co-host on Lowcountry Live, Tom Crawford, years ago, I was going through my divorce, full disclosure, and he did auctions. He was an auctioneer. And what had happened with him is when you work in TV, you get asked to MC a lot of events. And then sometimes they'll say, well, hey, can you just run the auction? Well, we have no business running an auction because there is an art and a skill and you should be licensed. So Tom was like a legit real auctioneer. So he was like, hey, why don't you come with me on a weekend, go on stage, describe some of these items for you. I'll pay for you to come. And I was like, cool, it's babysitting money. Like I get to wear a nice dress. Maybe I'll meet a new guy. Like that was my original thought process. Like nothing long term, like fancy cocktail dress and cash. Maybe I'll meet someone.
Nice.
But however, when I watched what is possible, so we are talking, when I say auctions, not cars, not cattle, not real estate. We are talking fundraising auctions. So
Right.
when the Heart Ball has their gala and we are
Right.
selling trips, you know, to California, et cetera, we are
Right.
selling these things for charity. So I quickly watched and learned at what power there was that we could raise a nonprofit's entire revenue pretty much in one night, in less than an hour.
I've seen it happen. I went to an event where they raised more than $500,000 in a
Yeah,
night.
it
It's
is.
incredible.
It is incredible. And there's a lot of work. You know, some people be like, oh, I'm a great auctioneer. Yes, you have to have the skill and the know-how on stage,
Oh
but
yeah.
there's so much that goes into it. And that's what we do, the consulting leading up to the night. So long story, I never thought I'd be an auctioneer. I fell in love with like, wow, this is amazing. I ended up going to auction school. There is such a thing where you have to go for a full week in
Of
Greenville.
course.
And I got licensed. And still auctioning for me was just kind of like a side hustle. Like I enjoyed it. I would just take a few jobs here and there. And it wasn't until, and I know, Paula, you like surrounding yourself with, you know, smart people. I'll put it that way. So I
Yes.
went to a conference and I met other women. And this was my first time meeting female auctioneers from across the country. And I was just floored at how kind they were, how smart they were, and what amazing business women they were. And they were like, you have no idea what you can do bringing a female voice to this profession. So
Oh,
hearing that, it was like they gave me permission to see what other people were doing. So hearing that, I came home, I renamed my company. We're called Giving for Good because we're not just Erin's auction house. We are there to like give back and do other events.
right.
And we've tripled our business. I have a guy just finished auction school. So I have another employee coming on board. And it's just so exciting because as we reach more nonprofits, we can help more people, we can raise more money. And in the end, we're changing the world. We really are.
Yes.
For all these different nonprofits.
Yes. And you know, like you, I didn't know much about it. And it was really, I would say probably in the last 2-3 years. Of course, we had COVID, but you know, just before COVID and then after, that I started getting a little more acquainted with it. And I remember I went to an event. I think it was the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. There are two guys that almost look like brothers, but you probably know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
And they were doing a spectacular job, and it became clear to me that really what you do is it's an odd combination, because the ones that really work, I've seen auctioneers that didn't perform very well and others that are just amazing superstars. when it works well, it's a combination of high energy entertainment
Mm-hmm.
channeled for good.
Yep.
And
And it's high energy, but it's also the ability to read the room, right?
exactly.
So I think that's where I was lucky from coming from TV, just to have like the stage presence.
Uh-huh.
Because when I'm on stage, everyone thinks it's talking fast. I'll talk a little fast, but I always say, like, my people are drunk. They've been drinking for an hour and a half, 2 hours before they
Uh-huh.
sit down. Like, I am not selling cattle, so it's much slower. And you're
Right.
just playing with them. So I
Mhm.
come with a team of bid assistants. They have light sticks in the crowd. And I know, like, we're going to start the bidding at $1,000. We've got 1,000 in the back, now 12. Who to bid 12, now 14, 14 over there. And what they're standing
Listen
next
to
to
you.
people bidding. But I can tell they're reading them. And then I can say, like, Matthew, is she in or is she out? So we're playing
Right.
with people. And our whole goal is not to pressure, but we want to make it feel good to give.
Right. Right.
So that's the fun. That's the funny one-liners. When they win something, we bring out the champagne. We've got a celebration squad. Like, it's a whole experience that we want to be unforgettable. So they want to return next year.
Right. And that is what I was trying to explain with entertainment. You are reading the room.
Mm-hmm.
You are appealing to people, and of course, you have a great cause
Mm-hmm.
to work with. So, but I've seen the ones that are like boring.
Right. But they're just like bid calling, and it's just fast talking, and there's no fun. Everyone's bored and not participating.
Yeah, exactly. There is an element of creativity there. So that this is an incredible picture. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to feature you, because the Lowcountry Influentials is just a way of highlighting people who I know that I meet, and your experience is incredible. Now, how do you tie all this together in a way that it is workable? Because on top of that, as you were saying at the beginning, you are in your workout clothes, so you're even having the time to work out.
I mean, Paulo, it's hard. I just, there's no other way to say it. It's hard. And as my businesses grow, it's becoming increasingly hard to juggle everything. So I wake up around 4 a.m. ish. And
wow.
Well, I used to wake up at 2 a.m. When I was a meteorologist. I did the morning show. So 4 is like not that bad. But I have to like block out my day. So Lowcountry Live, we're on the air at 10 a.m. So if I'm up at 4, I mean, sometimes people get all kinds of emails from me before 5 a.m. It's because I'm working. So like I will do all of my Lowcountry Live, like get all that done, early on in the day. And then later in the day, as I have a call with you right now, or I have like my video coaching. I do a course called Launchpad. We do that on Mondays. As far as auctions, the actual events or weekends, so it's like Friday and Saturday. It's just a lot. And I don't know. I have not figured it out. I have a very supportive husband with the kids who helps. He does all the cooking, which God bless. He's amazing. I don't ever cook anything because I'm not very good at it, and he's amazing. So I think it's just helpful to be surrounded by supportive people too.
It is fundamental. And yeah, I know exactly what you mean. What is the number one tip you would give to somebody who is juggling a busy schedule?
I would say, well, for my business, this for me is the year of systemizing things, like finding systems, finding my CRM when someone comes into my world, all the automations as they get onboarded and stuff like that. So it's a little higher level probably than you're asking. But I just think if you're really busy, anything you can create a system so then it can be replicated and you can pawn it off to someone else. If you're growing your business to do it, like to me, that's the wisest thing you can do.
That's awesome. Erin, thank you so much for taking the time to explain and share your knowledge. It's been a pleasure as always, and I can't wait to feature this on the next installment of Lowcountry Influentials. Thank you.
Thank you so much.